Yeah, so at the Applied AI Lab at the Trade Desk, we look at forward-looking. We're forward-looking in the sense that we look at problems that teams are not currently looking at. So something that is like high rewarding in like 3 to 5 years. So we're looking at cutting-edge research that's happening out there, like looking at what trends are out there, like looking and we're like trying to identify problem areas at the Trade Desk that map the current trends. Like if there's like a large language model like ChatGPT, right? We're looking at, okay, how does that help our business? How can we like integrate that into our product? Or if there's like graph machine learning. It was the trend in like most tech conferences, like most computer science conferences. So we're looking at how do we think like graph machine learning is going to help us like make our product better, and they're like identifying avenues. So there's like a lot of like learning, iterating, like it's like applied research in some sense. There's like a lot of different avenues, right? One is like you start from the problem you have, and then you look at existing research literature that's already available. Or if there's existing research literature that's already available, then you're going to look at, is there open source code for this already available, and then you're going to like try to implement it and see like how well it works in your setting. So my bachelor's was in computer science, but to be honest, back then all I wanted to do was I wanted to be a consultant and travel the world. I didn't quite enjoy computer science back then, but then I decided, okay, I was going to like save the world, and I got really disillusioned with nonprofits and stuff. And then I wanted to go back to school. I think the best thing to do when you don't know what to do with your life is to go back to school. Right. So I went back to get a master's degree, and I had this like very open-ended master's degree where it was like I could do coursework in like business facing or like maths, or like it was like in applied. It was like management science or something like that. But somehow like I was leaning towards math courses, so I switched my program to applied math. And then at that point of time, like data science was a buzzword. Like data scientist was not even a career option. It was like something that like Harvard Business Review had come up with this article like, oh, data scientist is the next like job of the next decade or something like that. At that point of time, I was like, okay, I like programming and I like problem solving, and I really seem to like math. So this whole thing, data science like and big data, like seems to fit somewhere in there. So let me figure it out. And I happened to take a course in like auction theory at school, which is like applied math for public policy research. And I got interested in like the dynamics of the auction space, and I found that like programmatic advertising had that. And there were like data science opportunities. So it all like kind of fit in together. And I ended up working as a data scientist for like ad tech companies. And then at one point, I always, even when I left graduate school, like kind of like always wanted to do a PhD, but somehow life got in the way. And then like after I had my daughter, I was like, okay, this is it or never. So then like after my daughter was born, I applied to PhD programs. And then I wanted to find a company that would be supportive of me, like, being a mom, doing a PhD, working part-time, and the Trade Desk was, said they'd do it for me. I couldn't be happier. The people, I love the people I work with. They all have like the same attitude towards like, something isn't working, like how do we get it to work, like the problem solving aspect of it. And they're so generous with their time. I can't really like, it's the people, it's like the problem space. The fact that my role is like being in between academia and like the industry, I love that part, like being the bridge and like trying to like match what's there, what's here, like what the best of two worlds. I love that. I think sometimes academic trends, like they seem trendy, but like academic solutions, but they make a lot of assumptions which like don't hold in the real world. And sometimes like academic solutions are really hard to implement. Like, or they don't really work well in a setting in the real world. That's like one challenging aspect. Like, how do you bring that balance? And the other aspect is when you're trying to explain like complicated like research methods to like people in business management. Like, how do you simplify it in a way that is understandable to them, but it's also like you're not treating them with disrespect in the sense that you're not dumbing it down, right? Like, you're giving the correct explanation, but it's also in an accessible way. It's really hard. Oh, there was this one time when I was working in Microsoft Research where we had, like, where I really saw like research permeate industry practice, where, I was in a research environment, but the researchers teamed up with engineers and data scientists and built this product that was like fundamentally driven by, research, but then it made it to an actual product that was useful for like business end users, and it like won a couple of like industry awards for like the most innovative product and stuff. It was like really cool to be part of that team. I've switched so many roles in my career, and if there's one thing that I tell myself, it's like, don't be afraid to invest in learning. And it seems like, a daunting task, but learning is never linear, in the sense that like, just because it starts hard, it doesn't mean it's going to continue to be hard. But like, invest time to learn the fundamentals, because if you get the fundamentals right, everything else goes like that. And like, I tell myself, like, do not worry about the outcomes when you're investing in learning the fundamentals. And I have to remind myself that again now, because I'm doing the whole like PhD thing again. Sometimes like it really worked up. It's like, oh my God, am I ever going to catch up because I'm a lot older than my peers? Then I have to remind myself, like, learning is not linear. And that's one thing I'd always like tell young people.